Hi. Okay, so this is episode one of a very exciting podcast, Zrat Hashem. And my name is Anam Zarahi, and I'm here with the first ever guest,
Lydia Ezon.
and hopefully this will be the start of many more podcasts. And let's start. So I just want to introduce Lydia and say how I remember meeting her. Basically, when I met you, I remember I was in camp, like Camp All Sport, long time ago. I don't know if you remember this. And then we were like, I don't know, we were in camp at the same time. And little did I know, we were neighbors like years ago. And I guess you remembered me from there. And so you introduced yourself and you said where you knew me from. And I was like, oh, like I didn't remember you because I was younger. And then I remember, I mean, this is now not so long ago, but once I was going into high school, we still saw each other because we still lived pretty close to each other. And you offered, like, I remember you saw my mom at like DSN Beach or something, and you were like, "Oh yeah, tell Annette to call me about high school because I was going into ninth grade like 4 summers ago." And I think you kept bumping into my mom and telling her like, to tell me to call you. And I was shy at that point, but I wanted to call you, so I decided, okay, I'm gonna call you. And I remember that night, it was a summer night, and you gave me advice. And since then, you've really been my mentor, my friend, and like someone I really look up to, and I'm really inspired by. And you always gave me your time, and you always heard me out no matter what I had to say. Sometimes I had ridiculous things to say, and you always heard me out and gave me advice and listened. I really appreciate that about you, and that's why I have you on here because you're just such an amazing person, and I'm very excited.
Thank you. That was so sweet, and that's the sweetest. I remember you and your sister also. When you guys just moved into this house, you must have been 4 years old, and you
That's
guys
so
were
funny.
cute.
Wow.
And I'm so happy to be here. So thank you for having me. This is so special.
Thank you.
And you really inspired me.
So the first question is, what was your childhood like, and how were you raised?
Thank God I had a very amazing childhood. I would never trade it for anything. I was raised with very strong values that my parents instilled in me, and they always say that's the glue that holds the family together. And the morals that we live by, it's our blueprint for life. Growing up, I was a middle kid, and I did have some learning disabilities in school. Until fifth grade, I had someone sitting with me in every single class. And then in sixth grade, when I lost her, not lost her, it was just time to move on, and I was ready to be a normal student without any extra help. I found myself to be very lazy, and I was practically failing out of school. My parents wanted to pull me out of Mag and David.
Wow.
I was getting 16s, 30. I was lucky if I got double digits on a test.
Wow.
And I just was so unmotivated, and I was just having fun with friends. I couldn't care less about my grades. And then it got to a point where it was not okay. I was really failing. And I'll never forget my dad sitting me down in the living room telling me, Lydia, he's very inspirational, never yells, very well disciplined. And he said, this isn't who you are. And he shared his story with me. He was dyslexic growing up. He had to be pulled out of Hillel, went to Teal School, which is public school in Jersey, for almost 6 years, and went back to Hillel in 7th grade. Had to completely start over. He sat in 1st grade Hebrew. He was with 6th and 7th grade English, but he was a 7th grader sitting with 1st graders in Hebrew class. Had to make all new friends.
Reminds me of Rabbi Akiva. That's so cute.
Yes. And he worked his way up, and he made it to honors, thank God, and in high school, and really just started over from scratch. And even though he had to take the side door, which is something I do every day, knowledge doesn't come that easy, especially for me too, in studying and test taking. It's that discipline and the hard work ethic that you put in that instills in you a discipline like no other, an ambition like no other, and just, I would say, kind of increases your self-esteem and your confidence, and makes you think that, okay, if I can study for this, which is something that you start off with at such a young age. You can really do anything. So I said, okay, I'm going to start it. And my dream was to go to NYU because my dad went to NYU. And it was second half of sixth grade. I decided, okay, I'm going to start working hard. I got all color-coded prom folders, which I used through college. I'm not a binder person. And I would start working hard in every class. And even though people could just study the night before a test, I would start studying a week and a half before every single test.
Wow.
I would wake up at 3:30 in the morning, the day of the test, to review. I would come home every day and review my notes. And thank God I went from practically failing out of school till the end of seventh grade, getting mid-80s, low 90s.
Wow.
And then I said, okay, how much further can I go? I really want to be motivated. I want to be surrounded by more motivated people. And I didn't want to feel like a nerd in the regular class because I'm not a nerdy person, but I'm definitely a hard worker. I remember sitting down with Rabbi Berkowitz and Mag and David, and I said, okay, here's what I have. I showed him my trajectory from failing out of school till my high 80s, low 90s, and I said, would you be able to put me in honors for the first few weeks of the 8th grade? I want to try it out. I know I'm not up there. My grades are not honors grades yet, but look at how far I came. If I'm not reaching a certain point where you want me to reach by mid-November, you can pull me in at any second, but I really would love the opportunity to try. So he put me in, gave me a chance. I owe everything to him. And he put me in, and thank God I was able to keep up. I made it to Scholars, Mag and David, and Flatbush Honors, which was such a blessing.
Wow. Thank God. Wow. I feel like I learned so much about you just in like that small little piece of information. Okay. Going on what you were talking about just now, it very much has to do with what you were just talking about. What influenced your choice of high school?
So I was very conflicted. I remember deciding after the deadline between Mag and David and Flatbush, which are both great options. I kind of wanted to just try something new and step out of my comfort zone. Mag and David is also an amazing school. My older sister went there, loved it. I just wanted to try something new, meet new people. I was very nervous, and after I made my decision, I even regretted it. Like until the first, like I went into Flatbush orientation with the mindset of, okay, I'm moving to Mag in January. I don't know what I'm doing. My sister's so happy, Mag and David. This is crazy. And thank God I ended up loving it. And the first few months were definitely a huge transition. But thank God I was very, very happy with my decision. And I always tell people, you're never fully committed. If you decide you want to go to Mag and David or Elon or Flatbush, but you're a little nervous, you can always switch back.
Right.
But it's so much easier to switch back into what you had versus being comfortable and switching into some new environment that you're not used to. So,
right. Thank you. Okay.
Of course.
What did you have any moments that impacted who you are today? And if so, what are they?
So many moments have impacted me very much. I'll deep dive into 3. So the first one was in 7th grade when I was diagnosed with severe scoliosis, and I was debating between the surgery or a back brace for 3 years.
What's scoliosis?
Scoliosis is when you have an S curve in your back, and it's because I was born with one leg higher than the other.
Oh, wow.
And they're heavily debating between the surgery, which is very risky and rough, or spending 3 years in a back brace 20 hours a day, which means I would have to change my whole wardrobe around. Wouldn't be able to do gym class, wouldn't be able to walk up the stairs in school. I would look 20 pounds heavier because I'm wearing this full brace that's a 3D print out of my body from my stomach to my back. And I decided to go with the brace. And I think that's really when my optimistic mindset developed. I could have looked at that diagnosis as this horrible, hindering circumstance, but instead I decided to embrace it. I decided to milk out the perks, whether it was Six Flags flash passes or getting to have an elevator pass in school, and just reminding myself that this is making me stronger. And thank God I really worked very hard to heal my body, and whether it was physical therapy a few times a week and doing exercises at home, it really gave me so much strength. I couldn't even balance on one foot. It was so bad. And Baruch Hashem, I was just grateful that this was my talent that Hashem gave me. I embraced it. And my parents always told me, you are not your circumstance. People could be in bed crying, but instead I decided to not let myself be a victim and accept it and make the most of it.
Wow.
So that was definitely one challenge that helped me develop into the optimistic, positive person that I am. And with everything in life, life is not easy, but you have to look at the gain and not the gap. Accept the challenges that Hashem gave you, and believe that everything happens for you, not to you. And sometimes I'm very bubbly, and people think that my life is rainbows and sunshines, and thank God, I do have a beautiful life, but there are always challenges. It's just the way you look at them. And the same with your days. You can have what somebody might think is a bad day, but really, my grandpa Siva Shalom always said, there's no bad days, only good days and learning days. My grandpa Siva Shalom was sick for 30 years with cancer, and he was the most optimistic, positive person anyone, even though I never met him, they really keep him alive through his legacy, and it's as though we know him, and that was his big mantra.
So nice. Wow, I love that.
He's very special.
I have to put that in I have like a quote door in my closet. I have to put that in there.
Okay, anyway. So my second challenge was in 11th grade when I was diagnosed with Lyme's disease.
Mm-hmm.
And at first I had no clue I had it, but I was really very off, always exhausted all the time. I felt my personality fading. I had a brain fog, and I just wasn't myself. And I was also a runner, and I just had no energy at the time. And once I found out, thank God, I also had that optimistic mindset developed in me, and I was okay, it's my challenge, it's happening for me. And everyone can have Lyme disease on a spectrum. It depends on what point you got diagnosed. So thank God they found it much earlier than later. So I spent a lot of my junior year and senior year at home in bed. And everyone knows I couldn't go or leave my house anywhere until I got my 3-hour nap in. But thank God I never would have changed it in the world, because now that I'm much better, Baruch Hashem, I value my energy so much. I'm so appreciative of every time I'm able to exercise or hang out with my friends and family till 11:30 or 12 or 1 in the morning, which is something I would not have been able to do. And it really just put life into perspective for me. A third moment that really helped me develop who I am was not really a moment, it was more of a journey. I went on this NCSY summer trip, and it was an Ashkenaz trip. We must have been 10 or 12 Syrians. And going into it, I was always a bubbly person, but I felt like in high school, freshman and sophomore year, I was like a little more enclosed, not really myself, didn't branch out as much. And then I went on to this trip, really oblivious, like very naive, never met Ashkenaz people that, like, we really live in a bubble. And that's what I realized from the moment we got to the airport, we lived in a bubble. And I noticed that on that trip, I was able to be that more bubbly, confident version of myself that I was as a kid. And I think sometimes when we get to high school, it's so easy for young girls to just lose touch of that because of social norms and standards. And obviously, like, you're not gonna rebel and be like a crazy person, but sometimes you want to just be a little more free and bubbly. And it's very normal for young girls to feel like they can't do that because of the norms and feeling judged.
Yeah.
So I realized on this trip that I was able to be that more confident, bubbly version of myself that was joking around sometimes and just having a great time. I felt like I was a kid again, and I couldn't understand it. And then the last night, I remember sitting with an advisor who's Syrian, and that advisor asked, did anyone feel like they were able to be a different version of themselves on this trip? And I said, yes, I did. And I was trying to pinpoint why for an hour and a half, and this is the conclusion I came to. oftentimes we feel judged. And it's very normal for any high school girl to feel judged with everything that they do, feeling self-conscious. And on this trip, I just didn't feel judged. And I realized why. It was because I wasn't judging anyone else. Feeling judged comes from judging others. And a big point of judging others comes with labels, meaning we look at somebody as popular, not as popular, cool, not cool. Once you just look through all those negative labels that either we or other people place on people, you'll be able to be that greater version of yourself. You'll be able to go up to anyone and talk to anyone and branch out and not feel weird about it and just feel confident and friendly, not care who you're talking to, not care about what anybody else is saying, and just be you. So that was definitely a very insightful moment. I remember coming back to that first weekend and it was high heat and I didn't care who I was talking to. I just remember feeling so confident and good. And I think 11th grade was really when I became that best, most bubbly version of myself. I felt a lot more confident and no social anxiety at all whatsoever, thank God.
Wow.
So that's my tip to young girls. Don't judge others. Feeling judged comes from looking at those negative labels. So look through those negative labels and don't judge others. And that's what leads to not feeling judged and ultimately giving you the ability to be that great version of yourself.
So nice. I remember you giving me that piece of advice. Like, I remember the first time we spoke on the phone, you gave me that piece of advice. And like, I hope that throughout high school I took it with me and I was able to put it into practice, but I hope I could really continue.
And it's not so easy because sometimes when you're surrounded by people who also feel judged or don't look through those negative labels, you're like, wait, I really be doing this or I just really not. And then you realize, no, I'm just going to be me. And yeah,
everyone's just human also.
We are human and it's so easy to be self. It really is.
Thank you. Okay. What influenced your college decision and what was your college experience like?
Okay. So I actually made it to NYU. Thank God. I remember mentioning that was my dream. My dad made it to NYU.
Yeah.
And I also got into Baruch Scholars. I was at first, the moment I got into NYU, it was my dream. I was so excited. And then I went to orientation and it was just very liberal at the time.
I remember.
I'll never forget the faculty member who came on board. Like on the stage was a man with hairy lights and a pink dress, but also the program I got into was very liberal. And Baruch Scholars had a free scholarship, which was amazing. And at the time, I really didn't know what I wanted to do. So I remember speaking to my parents. I said, listen, if you know what you want to do and it's in NYU, go for it. If not, Baruch is still an amazing alternative. My sister went there. She loved it. So I decided to go with Baruch because I really had no clue what I wanted to do. And they said, if you want to go to grad school and it's in NYU and you get in, beautiful, go for it. But the truth is I really was clueless at the time, so I just decided to go with Baruch. I had a full ride, which was amazing. And it was great. It was in and out. I was able to do it in 3 years. I was in the city, which definitely made me much more of an independent person. I loved it. And thank God, it was great. I always tell people, don't base your college decision off of friends, because even when you're in college with a friend, there's so many different classes, and it's so hard to get in. Like, some people have trouble getting into classes, and you're probably not going to be with them half the time. Do what works for you.
Yeah, I want to add in a funny story, actually. I remember one of my teachers, she's like very into college, and she was telling us about college, and she said that one of her friends went to Brooklyn College for a guy specifically, and she never saw him like the entire time she was there. And like they ended up getting married, but like not even from Brooklyn College. Like it was just from outside, and it's like, I don't know, I just thought it was very funny to throw in. But it's so true. Also, the campus is always so big, and like the hours are so different for everyone. I know you have a business, and I love like looking at it and watching it, and it's just so nice and inspirational, and everyone like looks so happy. So I want to hear about your business, Fit and Fab, and what you hope that your participants gain from it.
Okay, so a few years ago, actually around the time when I got sick, I was looking for a cute, fun, fulfilling side hustle. And I was trying to think of what to do. Everyone just gives dance classes and it's easy. And I was like, oh, maybe I'll just give a dance class. So easy. But I'm the worst at remembering choreography. I love to dance. I have the best time at every wedding. But I cannot remember choreography for the life of me. I'm like, okay, what if I do something different? And I was trying to think of what I love to do. And the truth is, I really love fitness. I love exercise of all different kinds. So I said, you know what? I want to bring girls and show them my lifestyle. So I created this program called Fit and Fab, and it was amazing because also, even though I couldn't do my heavy exercises at the time, I was able to share lighter ones with these young girls, which was so fulfilling and special. So Fit and Fab is a step into my lifestyle. It's a fitness program for young girls ranging from 7 years old till high school, and each week is something different. One week will be yoga and meditation on the beach. Another week is running training. Then we'll do running on the boardwalk with a speaker. Another week will be a fitness color war, a healthy cooking class with my grandma Susie, who's the best. She opens her house to us every week.
That's so nice.
We'll do pool aerobics. And what I love about each class is that it ends with a nutritious treat, but also it ends in journaling. And that's something that really helped get me through most of high school. I have a Dear Hashem journal, which is so meaningful. Whenever I felt anxious about anything or concerned, I would put in my mellow meditational music and write to Hashem from bed, and just the anxiety release and any tension that was ever in my arms would just go away, and I'd feel good about anything. And it was just a reminder too that Hashem is with me whenever I'm in any, I'm totally going off track, but whenever I'm in any circumstance or situationship or conversation and I have no clue what to say, I always think of Hashem as that angel on my shoulder, somebody right next to me. And in my head, I'll be like, okay, Hashem, please put the right words in my mouth right now. I don't know what to say. And he really is a best friend. And they always say you should think of Hashem as a best friend, and I do. And it gets me through so much. So the girls don't do Dear Hashem journaling. They just do regular journaling. If they want to, they can. I just don't want to push that on them. But the journaling is just very detoxing, especially after a full week. We'll have mellow music on, the nutritious snacks. Sometimes I'll do my sound bowls. And it's so detoxing. And everyone says it really is like an emotional release. Like you just journal out your week, your worries. Sometimes I'll give the younger girls prompts, and it's very special. And a big part about my fitness program is that it's not just trying to uplift people physically. It's not really about the physical, but it's more about how I make them feel. And it's a very big goal of mine. I want to try to uplift them emotionally. And people don't even need emotional help. That comes to me. Like, that's not what the goal is, but I just try to instill self-esteem and confidence and help them figure out how to uplift themselves, help them find what makes them feel good.
And I feel like I learned like so much about the intention behind your little business from this. Like I thought I knew about it, but I just learned so much more.
And one more thing that I've realized, it's so easy to lose your confidence, especially in the middle school / high school area. Like the same time when I started losing my confidence, social norms and everything. So I try to help them still preserve that best version of themselves. And one thing that I find, even now, especially now, out of college, that helps me feel confident and upholds my self-esteem is fulfillment. Finding your own personal fulfillment in different things, whether it be chesed initiatives or exercise or just hobbies that you enjoy doing, having a business, cooking, even something small like joining a club in school. Fulfillment really makes me feel so good, and it also reminds me like, okay, fulfillment is what gives me a lot of my self-esteem and confidence, and it's your own personal fulfillment. Waking up knowing that you have your own purpose, not relying on anyone else to be happy is something that I tell people all the time. If you rely on other people to be happy, you will never be happy. If you have expectations from others, you will never live a fun life.
Yeah.
You can't rely on anyone else for anything. especially to feel good or to help yourself. I always say, like, the only person who can really help someone is yourself, no matter how people can inspire others to help themselves. But in the end of the day, it's always in your hands with hashtag, obviously. So fulfillment is something that makes me feel good and confident and have self-esteem, and also it never gives me FOMO. Like, okay, if I missed out on this with this people or I wasn't invited, like, you just feel good still.
Yeah.
So it's very special.
Yeah. That's the best advice. I really love
You're
that.
not invited here, you make it there, but not other places. You just feel good in who you are, and you really care.
Okay, now we're on to the advice questions.
Okay.
Okay, the first question is, what advice would you give to someone choosing a high school?
I would just say, don't be afraid to step out of your comfort zone. It's going to be hard at first. And there's always going to be a transition stage. Don't get turned away. Always give it a few months and remind yourself that you can switch back in the blink of an eye.
Yeah, very easy. Okay.
And also, don't be afraid to branch out freshman year. Like, even though it might seem scary, just remember to look through the labels.
How did you get involved in Chesed, and what inspired you to help others through the Chesed, through the high school transition?
So thank God I grew up in a home where Chesed was very much a big pillar. So having the opportunity to see my grandparents, my parents through Chesed is very special. I remember maybe 6th or 7th grade going with my mom to visit cancer clients. Even as a kid with my dad, I remember like during Hurricane Sandy, me and all my cousins, we were in Deal for Thanksgiving that year, and I remember all of us speaking all different goods and delivering them to people who lost their homes. So it was definitely a very big part of my childhood. But 9th grade was when I took it upon myself. I remember when Corona hit, I would call my grandma every week to work in Deal, and she said, "Don't call me. There's so many people that are lonelier. Like, you should reach out to the mitzvah men or SB and get some numbers and call them." And I said, okay. So I would reach out to SBH and the mitzvah men, and I got started off with around 4 or 5 numbers that I'd call consecutively each week. And thank God, now it's been 6 years, and I'm still in touch with almost all of them, which is very special.
Wow.
So I remember during Corona, when I was bored, I would call them, and by uplifting them, I was uplifting myself. Chesed is really a boomerang, and every person, there's so many different forms of chesed that work for other people. Some people might not be as into that. Some people like working with kids more, or just doing things on the other side, like cooking for someone, and it's so special. So I find that by uplifting others, I'm uplifting myself. And they, in the long run, end up giving so much more back to you. And after Corona, I started getting to know them in person and visiting them, and seeing that impact really made me feel good. And I love getting involved in different initiatives over high school.
Okay, next question. What's the most important advice you would give to an incoming high school student?
Don't sacrifice your values to adhere to social norms or what everyone else is doing. Be you. Surround yourself by people of your same values.
Okay, what can students do to adjust more easily to a new school environment?
Definitely is hard. Like my first 6 months, I was like, I'm switching to David. I don't know what I'm doing here. I was also so not used to the flash environment coming from Magazine, which is a much smaller school, and the regions and like the meeting. Like it was just definitely rough the first few months. But also, I went in with the worst mindset that, okay, I'm switching to Mag in 6 months. Like, it's going to be great.
Yeah.
And don't let that be your mindset. It's horrible. Like, I remember sitting in orientation, and Rabbi Besser was speaking, and he said, oh, in 4 years, I'll never forget this, in 4 years, you guys are all going to be running down the commons and the lockers. Like, oh my God, I can't believe how time flew. And I just remember thinking to myself, well, I'm not going to be there. I'll be Magazine because I don't know where I am, and I don't know why I made this decision. My sister's so happy in Magazine. I don't know what I'm doing in classes. So don't let that be your mindset. Don't go into it saying, I'm going to switch to Megan, or I'm going to switch to Milan, or I'm going to switch from Megan to Flatfish. Just go into it with a clean slate saying, okay, I'm trying something new. It's going to be scary. And no, going into it, no, like it's going to be a transition for everyone. But also remember that every single person in that school is also going through a transition. It's not just you.
That's true.
And just remember, I have that alternative to switch back if I need to, but right now I'm going to try this out. And my mindset isn't going to be that I'm going to switch out right away. So, something that I would tell people for sure.
What are your best tips for maintaining a healthy lifestyle while balancing academics and social life?
I always believe that a busy person finds the time. If your life, like my freshman year of college, for example, my life was just school. And I was miserable. It was just school. There was no fulfillment in between besides for my Friday visiting, which was really nice for the week. I was so focused on just getting that 4.0, and I realized that was just not a vital in life. Insert fulfillment in different places, whether it be, like I said, hobbies, hanging out with friends. It's so important to balance everything, and a busy person always finds the time to figure everything out somewhere, somehow. But also making schedules for the week really helped. My best friend, Moselle, freshman year, really, like when she saw me struggling, like trying to balance everything. Also, I was sick freshman year of college too, and I didn't know how to make time for anything. She gave me a planner and highlighters, and she said, this is what you're going to do. You're going to make a schedule for the week. And my dad also told me every day, you can't just have a to-do list. You have to have a to-do list and a to-enjoy list. And sometimes you might have to sacrifice certain things to make time for others, but you have to make sure that you're also happy, and then you'll be able to give your all to everything. And I noticed that when I was doing more things, believe it or not, I was doing better in school. I was happier.
How can students stay connected with friends after leaving for college?
So that is very hard. I'm not going to lie to you. You're used to waking up and seeing everybody every day in school or on the weekends, and college comes and everyone's in their whole world, whether people are dorming, and I was all over the place with school and life, and you really have to put in the effort. So one thing about me is that I'm a very low maintenance friend. Like, I'm okay going a few weeks without seeing someone, and it's like no time passed. And I'm okay with that because I'm also in my own world during the week doing my own things. I would try to do small things, and I'm not a person who's on my phone a lot at all. I'm a grandma when it comes to technology. I'm not a texter. I'm an in-personer. Yeah. I don't know if that's the right word.
Yeah.
But I would do small things like I have, even till today, I'm going to do it today, it's Friday. I have a list of 15 to 20 people that I just send a little Shabbat Shalom text, and I just so they know, like, I'm thinking of them, but even though I'm probably not seeing them this week or next week, right, or maybe I will, just know, like, I'm thinking of you. I send it every week. Sometimes I'll say, like, hey, Nad, how was your week? How was X, Y, and Z? Thinking of you, Shabbat Shalom. And just so I know, like, I'm thinking of them. I'm here, even if I'm not there. So there's so many small habits you can pick up. But definitely whenever I have a chance, I try to invite or give somebody a call once in a blue moon if I know they're not somebody I'm going to see in person as much. But you really do have to put in the effort. But just being low maintenance, like in a way where you can catch up with somebody and it's like no time passed when you're with them, that's a very big quality that I always tell people.
Yeah. Oh, that's great advice also. Okay. The last question is a Torah connection, and I'm just going to introduce it since it's the first episode. Basically, with every episode, I want to try and have a guest over, and based off of what we discussed or who the person is, I want to have a Torah connection that we touch on. Because at the end of the day, everything really comes back to Torah and what we learn from there, and everything that we learn is really all based in the Torah. So, with that being said, is there a Torah insight or chidush that can help students navigate challenges in high school and college with greater strength and resilience?
I would just say, Emunah in Hashem. And knowing that everything happens for a reason. And we see it so many times in Torah, how sometimes people don't really know what's happening in the moment, and it doesn't make any sense, and you see it come full circle. And it's just an aha inside moment where everyone's jaws are dropped and like, wow, Hashem is amazing. So sometimes you're not going to know why you're going through something, and there's going to be challenges, and people are going to be cliquey, and academics are going to get hard, and there's always going to be a challenge, whether it's socially, academically, physically, emotionally. But just having emunah and Hashem that you don't know why you're going through something and why this is your circumstance, but not victimizing yourself and just having emunah that it's happening for you, and obviously putting in your hishatim to the best of your ability.
Okay, so you spoke about clickiness. You just mentioned it, and so I wanted to know what was your experience with girls being cliquey in high school and elementary, and how did you deal with it?
So, clickiness is inevitable in every grade, and especially with girls. I would say the first time I encountered clickiness was in 6th grade. So me and 2 other girls were separated from like a whole group of girls that we were so close to from 1st and 5th grade in a whole new class with all new people. And really in elementary school, like you hang out with the people that are in your class because you're with them all day, every day. And like once you're on the same lunch table as them, then that's just how it works. And I completely started over from scratch making all new friends in 6th grade. I remember it was very cliquey also. It was very different. Like everyone, that class had groups of girls that were with each other from 1st to 5th grade, but like in 3 or 4 different groups. And I was always full of energy, full of life, and I was so scared of messing up because, oh my God, what if I don't make it into any of these groups? Like I've never really felt groups or clickiness until then. I was like, oh my gosh, what if I don't make it into any of these groups? Am I gonna have no friends? Am I gonna sit at lunch? And this was coming from the girl who was the most confident, bubbly 1st to 5th grader, always chatting with everyone who was in my class and just full of life, didn't care about anything. And all of a sudden I felt like I needed to fit in. And there were a group of girls who were the sweetest, nicest girls, but a lot more quiet. And I went from like speaking to boys in 5th grade, like really very loud and energetic, to like just realizing, okay, you need to fit in. And I guess I realized that the best way to fit in, I was so nervous of just being that bubbly, energetic, laughing version of myself that I realized, okay, I feel like if I'm just quiet and reserved, and I do have like a sophistication side to me, that definitely comes from my mom, who's more reserved. But I also am very energetic, and I realized, okay, I feel like just being more reserved, like just bringing out that part of me, will like so easy if you're like just a quiet, sweet, nice girl. Like who's gonna not?
Yeah.
Like it's just so easy. So I definitely lost a lot of my personality trying to fit in, just being a lot quieter in class, just not that bubbly version of me at all. And I was scared to be that bubbly, crazy version of myself. Not crazy, like fun version of myself because I was afraid of rejection. So I definitely sacrificed a big part of my personality in school through middle school and like the first years of high school, I guess. I mean, it was also Corona, but I wasn't that huge bubbly version of myself at all. Definitely much quieter. And thank God I had the best. I had the best friends. They were so sweet, but I still wasn't that huge bubbly version of myself. And throughout high school, like I still was worried about. But it's normal. It's like I don't think any girl, no matter how positive you are, it's so normal to always think, oh my gosh, what if I don't fit in or do this? But thank God I found the best, sweetest friends in the whole world. I would never trade them for anything. And I always thank God, even the girls who I was friends with in 6th grade were the sweetest girls ever. But I realized like I'm just gonna be me more, and people love you for your authentic version of yourself. Don't sacrifice it for anything. Sometimes, even in 11th and 12th grade, I was nervous about branching out more because I was nervous about what other people would think. Even though, like, they wouldn't have thought anything. But just being that more bubbly version of myself. But definitely after high school, all that changed. And I don't care saying hi to anyone on the street. Like, I'm just me. And it's so freeing. So that's why I would tell people also, yes, it's scary. Clicks are rough. And everyone is clicky, and you're always going to be finding yourself navigating your way through clicks, but I would say don't be cliquey. Like if you could be friends with people from all different groups, like go for it. It's so
Yeah.
nice and refreshing. And sometimes you're gonna be able to be that fun, bubbly version of yourself in front of some people and not others, and that's okay. Obviously don't sacrifice everything and pretend to be a different person, but know that like okay, like you're gonna be more reserved with some people.
Right.
But as long as you have those other people in your life that you're able to find, and it might not be till way later on that you find them in life, but just even if it's all you need is one person that you can just be that bubbly, fun version of yourself around, that's all you need. And as long as you still know who you are and you stay true to yourself, your values, your personality, that's amazing. And know like you're not going to be able to be that huge bubbly version of yourself in front of everyone, and that's okay. But as long as you know that you can around some people, and it might take a while to find them. Sometimes in high school and with everything in life, you have to get a little uncomfortable to get comfortable.
Mm-hmm.
So it's going to be a little uncomfortable, especially as a new person in a new school, meeting all new people. I knew some people going into Flatfish, but some people don't. And just know like it's going to be uncomfortable you put yourself out there and don't be afraid of rejection. It's going to be uncomfortable at first going up to someone saying, hi, I am Sarah Cohen, like just being that friendly, and like it's normal to get rejected. Like I've been rejected, but like it's okay, it's normal. But don't let rejection inhibit you from continuing to branch out and continuing to be friendly and trying to meet new people, and know that it's going to be a little uncomfortable, but you have to be a little uncomfortable to get comfortable.
Yeah. 100%.
And remember that Hashem is with you holding your hand. So in those moments when it is uncomfortable, this is what works for me. I just remember like a little angel or like a little Hashem angel, like Hashem hold. Like I'm telling you, it sounds so ill that I think of Hashem as a best friend holding my hand.
That's so
every step of the way. So in those uncomfortable circumstances, I turn to him and I'm like, okay, we're in this together. And it sounds so cheesy, but it really helps guide me through life.
Thank you so much. It was so nice to have you on.
Thank you for having me. I'm so flattered. And Annette, you really inspire me. So thank you so much.
Thank you. And I really learned so much about you just in these like 45 minutes. And I'm really so grateful.
Thank you.
And I'm really so excited to listen to this back, and I'm so excited for other people to listen to this.
Yes, and this is such a special podcast that you enjoy starting.
Thank you.
Really, I hope it's fine. I'm not that inspirational, but I hope it's fine.
Yes, you are. Oh my gosh.
I'm sure like the speaker lineup that you guys have looks amazing, and you guys are very inspirational. And
thank you.
You have the biggest hearts, and I'm so excited to see that the impact that you'll make with this. Thank you so much for having me.
Thank you.
And I love you guys.
Love you. Shalom.
This is amazing. Boy, so we'll tell you where to insert this little part. Back when I was talking about how in 6th grade I felt like I had to give up my personality a little bit to fit in. So I just want to add, if you can please insert it. Anyway. Nobody told me I needed to be quiet and reserved, because some people that I was surrounded with weren't quiet and reserved. And like everyone I was surrounded with were still the nicest person, and the people I used to be friendly with before that weren't in my class were still the nicest people in the whole world. But I think I just felt for myself that, and I chose for myself to just take the more reserved, the quiet, and the shyer, but still friendly route, because I was afraid of being rejected for who I am. To tell you the truth, people love authenticity, and I didn't realize at the time, but I think I was judging others that they would be judging me. So that's what I learned on that. Don't be afraid of rejection, but still remember that you'll be able to be that fun, great version of yourself. And that's okay. But I think it's funny to say that everyone was still like the nicest person. And you can also add somewhere that everyone I was friendly with also, like whether it was before middle school, in middle school, through high school, they were all the nicest people. I think I was just trying to figure out how to be myself and I took that more reserved route because I was afraid of rejection. I wanted to fit in. Done. Once I realized in 11th grade that I could just be Lydia and that people love Lydia for Lydia. Yeah. I, even though the people I was surrounded with, even when I was reserved, were still bubbly, fun people a lot of the time. So I really struggled with myself, with my identity. Like, why am I not myself? How do I figure out how to be like that bubbly version of me for some people? And that trip really opened my eyes.
Thank you.